All right, to further talk about this decision and what it means for you, we have Vinamra Longani, aviation analyst, and Jyoti Mayal, president of the Travel Agents Association of India, joining us. Thank you both very much for being with us. Vinamra, I want to begin by asking you, the big question on everyone's mind is that does this mean more flights and therefore hopefully a reduction in the fares, or is it too premature to make that assumption?
Well, at the outset, thank you for having me on the show, Rishika. You see, to give you an idea, India has bilateral air service agreements with 118 odd countries. Now, for the past 2 years, as you rightly pointed out, air travel, international air travel, in light of COVID, was regulated by these restrictive air bubbles. It was a great idea to begin with because we wanted to open up travel with countries who are in a similar situation when it came to their fight with the virus, really. And as of yesterday, we ended up with air bubbles with around 37 countries. Now, if you were to look at it in principle, given that we've sort of opened the floodgates, so to speak, starting today, and all airlines from these 118 odd countries can now mount as many flights as they would like, obviously keeping in light of their bilateral entitlements. But we really have to wait and see as to how quickly these airlines resume flights to India. You see, I can give you an example. Emirates, starting the 1st of April, is mounting their complete entire pre-COVID capacity into India, which is great. However, some of the European airlines are taking a more calibrated approach when it comes to resumption of flights. And more importantly, the big question on everyone's mind, as rightly pointed out, is will the airfares go down? Now, ideally, airfares should go down because there'll be more competition. But you see, we have this looming crisis in the world, which has caused oil prices to rise sharply. And more importantly, a lot of airlines that operate into India from the West, for example, right, European carriers and US carriers are having to take long detours to avoid Russian airspace. That obviously adds to the cost of operating these flights to India. So, ideally, yes, we should see airfares fall. Will we see them fall immediately? Well, it remains to be seen.
So it should happen, but whether it happens immediately is, of course, a question that still needs to be answered. Jyoti Mayal, what does this mean, for tourism specifically, given the fact that the frequency or rather connections to different parts of the world or, connections to India, for instance, may not have been that good in the last 2 years because of the travel restrictions?
Thank you, Rishika, for getting me at NDTV. Yes, I think I just heard our colleagues speak here. The tourism industry is very excited about the flights opening because as you yourself said, they're expecting a cost-effective flights now. They're expecting more connections, but it also depends on the countries which are really going to be opening the borders.
Right.
I think the Southeast Asia and the European countries have issues where visas are concerned and where openings of other, opportunities are concerned. So I think it's going to be a very effective way of only people who can travel immediately to these countries. Right. Yes, there is a huge, gap of visas with the European countries, with America, with Canada. So that's another constraint, But everyone else, of course, is very excited. After 2 years, we are looking at it, though we've been pursuing it since so long. And it's time for us to open and travel and connect with people, connect with friends, connect with family, connect with our businesses. We've lost out so many opportunities and we need to get into that mode of travel. I heard you speak about costing. I am very apprehensive about the costing, and not the soft words, but I think there's going to be a huge challenge where costing is going to be concerned about the ATF, yes, with the fuel prices going up, and also with not all the airlines being equipped to immediately put all the aircrafts on the flight, on the sectors. So we will see a very gradual everything coming back into normal.
I think that's an important point that you make as well. That it's going to be more. Yes, I think that's an important point. Vinamra, I'll give you the last word here as well. What does this really mean for the sector, for the aviation sector? Because, Jyoti makes an important point when she says that are all airlines who've been impacted severely by the pandemic actually in a position to be able to put all scheduled flights, back in action just yet?
You see, I'll be honest with you, this is great news for the industry. While there are challenges with reference to the cost of aviation turbine fuel, any airline which at this point in time, airlines have suffered so much over the last 2 years, they would want to mount these flights to a destination where you'd be able to fill these up from. There is ample pent-up demand in India. I mean, I can tell you for a fact, at the firm that I work for, we have travel planned to Dublin, where we attend this aircraft finance conference, which we also sponsor. So, people are now finally coming out and making plans for conferences, for summer holidays, for travel. And because airlines know they'd be able to pack these planes, I see no reason why they would not want to mount these flights into India, and which is a great thing also for the hospitality industry here, because they bring in vital tourists.
Yes, Jyoti Mayal, quick last word from you as well on the timing. This is happening just as we get into the onset of summer holidays, so the timing is good in a certain sense.
Yes, the timing is very good for outbound, of course, but we've also seen, that a lot of inbound queries also coming in, because people have all been pent up in their homes, so they need to get out. So it's both ways, and as the flights open, they also want to come into our country. So I think I see a shift from our seasonality travel also for inbound. So the opportunities are great, and everyone is looking forward to travel.
All right. So the timing, you're saying, in a certain sense works actually better for outbound, with people trying to escape the summer here in India and try and get to cooler places. But one sincerely hopes that, this is good news for sectors all around, whether it's the tourism, hospitality sector or the aviation sector. And one sincerely hopes for some relief for the common man as well, with now more flight options, better connectivity, and hopefully slightly lower fares than what we've been seeing. Thank you both very much for joining us on NDTV.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Rasika. Thank you so much.